Hey family, what is good? You're welcome to another video from me. So today we are going to be talking about Bitcoin. Okay, as you can see on my screen, this is the Bitcoin chart, and this is the daily time frame. So we're going to be explaining Bitcoin, and yeah, we're going to be explaining Bitcoin. Okay, so October 8th, I actually did a markup. As you guys know, those of you that have been following me for a very long time know that I'm very, you know, obsessed with Bitcoin, right? I like to trade Bitcoin a lot. I like to monitor, the Bitcoin chart. I like to know what is going on with Bitcoin, right? It is one of my favorite pairs, right? Like EU, Nasdaq, and then Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is one of my favorite pairs. I like to trade, right? So October 8th, I actually, sent out a markup. As you can see, we are below 17K, just like I predicted it, right? So I'm going to be sharing with you guys the video analysis as of when I was doing the markup. And then so quickly, let me pull this up. As you can see, this is October 8th. So I actually took out the screenshot from the Signal group. As you can see, the FRX Signal group, I actually took the screenshot from it, from the channel, right? This is October 8th was when I sent out this, trade idea, right? So let's read it together, okay? New trade idea, Bitcoin. Daily liquidity to the ups to the downside swept. So I was referring to this liquidity. So you can see this equal lows. We have money that was chilling from June 30th to September 7th. So we had price swept the liquidity. So that has been established, right? So daily liquidity to the downside swept. Daily structure is bearish. So when I mean daily structure is bearish, look at this, right? We had this lower high in this area, and then we had this lower low. So now the daily structure to me was bearish. So I actually wrote that down. And then again, structure within the biggest structure is bullish. Now, the daily structure, the overall structure on the daily is coming to the downside. But as price was going to create a lower high, it was giving us some kind of bullish formation within the bearish structure, right? And I was referring to this price action I was here, right? We saw this higher high, and then we saw this higher low, and then we saw this higher high, and then, it was giving us some potential higher low in this area, right? As it when I marked out the chart, right? So the structure within the bigger structure was bullish. Okay, so what else did I see again? I could see that the monthly liquidity was untouched. The monthly liquidity was just intact, and this was the monthly liquidity down here. So there was money in this area in form of what equal lows that has not been touched. So there was this monthly liquidity that was here. And as when I marked out the chart, this was not giving us equal lows yet. I'm going to pull up the chart so you can see. So I was only seeing this monthly liquidity because we had a rejection in this area that happened December 12th, 2020, and then price came back, to that same area June 18, 2022, right? 2 years after um, you know, price came back there and created, monthly liquidity, and then price, went back to the upside. So saw that the monthly liquidity was still kept intact. Price has not captured the monthly liquidity yet. Okay. Then I also said price filled the daily imbalance yesterday and is still stalling around that area today. What I want to see now, this is where we, get into what I want to discuss today. Now, what I want to see is multiple bullish days to fill in the bigger imbalance above. Now, let's take it one after the other. First, multiple bullish day to fill in imbalance above. This is the imbalance here. This is the big imbalance plus the liquidity that was not, captured. So I wanted, to see price action going up to fill that imbalance. That's why I said what I want to see is multiple bullish days to fill in the bigger imbalance above and also capture the internal daily liquidity above. And then possible lower pricing from there to 17K area. So I actually saw this before it happened October 8th. So I wanted bullish price action into the imbalance to capture these equal highs in form of retail resistance, right? We wanted, yes, we're going to sell, but we want to be selling above the resistance, right? So we wanted price to feel the imbalance, you know, and then give us some kind of distribution on lower time frame to then go lower to capturing this liquidity that was here and then the monthly liquidity. But when I marked out the chart, this liquidity was not there. It was just a down range and then the monthly liquidity plus the monthly imbalance that we have on price. So yeah, and then I said, you all know by now that price doesn't have to obey this, but I would love to see this happen. Yeah, so I'm just like, telling the audience, the members that I don't control the market. Okay, so I can have a very good analysis and it still might not play out because I do not have power, to make this happen. Okay, I'm just going to do my analysis and then leave it to smart money to, either do what I want or, just go against me. Okay, so this is the link to the chart image. I'm just going to click it now and then it's going to open. Right, so this is it, right? You can see October 8th, 2022. So there is no this is not me deceiving you by, using the replay tool, right? You can see the date, the timestamp is there, October 8th, 2022, 10:24 in the morning. So it was in the morning. I, you know, opened the Bitcoin chart and then I marked out this trade. So I was actually anticipating maybe price is going to go up from this area, right? But I was much more interested in the sell. Okay, I wanted to sell from this area to then go down, right? And then it was giving us some, structure within the structure bullishness, right? Higher high, higher low, higher high. So I was thinking maybe higher low is going to be set here and then price is just going to come to this area where I am looking to take, at the sell to the downside. But it is all about being patient. So there was no trading activity for me in all of this area until price, you know, gets to the bigger imbalance above where I wanted to distribute from to then go down to the 17K areas, right? So this is the markup. This is, as you can see, have the top range, the down range, price is bearish, and then the liquidity sweep, the monthly liquidity, right? Just very simple, not too complex markup, right? It's just me identifying all of these things for, easy references, and then members can remember anytime they're looking at my chart markup, right? And then draw the fib, wanted the entry to also be above the 50 level. That's a premium area for a sell, right? Because if you're selling, we want to be selling at premium areas, and then premium areas are areas above 50%, right? That is the 50, the 618, 71, 78, 86. And then if you're buying, you want to be buying at discount, 50% below. Yeah, that's also the fib drawn upside down, 50, the 618, 786. Yeah. So this is the markup, October 8th. Today is November 9th, so it's been many, many days. Many days has passed, and price actually, played out just like I anticipated it. Marked that where I was going to reject from. Price got there and gave us multiple entries to go down. Right. From what I can see here, I think I have about nine entries. Nine entries to go to the downside, 9 to 10. Okay, so we're going to be looking at them quickly. So the video is going to be quite long. I'm going to try to, hasten it up. Yes, so where we are today now, you can see this is the current price for Bitcoin, 17K 21. So Bitcoin is at 17,030. It's changing. So let's just say 17,030 areas. It went below 17K, just like I predicted. You can see actually got to about 16K 856. All right. So yes, Bitcoin has actually gone below 17K today. So next, before I actually start the analysis and then showing you the trade entries to go down, I want to play the video because I actually did a short video explaining what I was anticipating for Bitcoin on Sunday. That was Sunday that just passed. And so this is the video here. And I actually explain a couple of videos from NASDAQ to, a couple of pairs, but we're just going to focus now on Bitcoin. So I'm going to play the video now and then let's all listen together. I'm going to start now. So this is my analysis for NASDAQ quickly. And then the next one is Bitcoin, right? So for Bitcoin, okay, let me just go to, yeah. So we've discussed DXY, discussed AU, NASDAQ. So I want to talk about Bitcoin next. All right, so Bitcoin, very simple, not something too crazy. Okay, let's start from the weekly time frame. Based on the weekly structure, we are kind of bearish, low, high, and then we have this low, right? So it is still bearish, and I would love to see price come down. Why? Because of what? The presence of what? The monthly liquidity and the weekly liquidity resting here, which can also be the monthly liquidity. So either the monthly or weekly, it's okay, plus the big imbalance in this area. You can see this big imbalance here. So I would love to see price get there, feel the imbalance. That is why I am still bearish on Bitcoin. So I still see Bitcoin going below 17K, because that is where the imbalance is, right? Yeah. I'm not taking into consideration fundamentals, just based on technical now. I still feel it's going to go down to come into this area here. So now going to the daily time frame, in terms of the daily structure, what can we see, right? We have this, high, and then we have this low. So the daily range is from here to here. Now, even this down range creates what? There's liquidity in this area. There is money, and there is money here. And then we have the bigger money, and then we have this money, and then this money here. All right, look at this big imbalance, yeah, from here to here. So now that is where that is where Bitcoin is. So Bitcoin has filled up the imbalance 100%. So what can we begin to anticipate now? Possible bearish. All right. So that was the video from Sunday when I was doing the weekly, analysis. Right, what I was anticipating for, a couple of pairs this week. So as you can see, I actually did the analysis right before it played out. So I was anticipating, I knew it was going to sell, and then price actually, did sell. I've been monitoring this monthly liquidity for a long time, for a very, very long time. We have been looking at this monthly liquidity to get captured. And, at first we had the daily liquidity that was drawing price to come down, right? So this is now there was this, liquidity we had in this area here. This liquidity, we had this one, right? We had this liquidity here, and while Bitcoin was still up, around these areas, we kept on anticipating I was going to come for it. It was going to come for it. It took a while, but then it actually, price came for the liquidity. And then after this has been swept, Bitcoin was still dropping and then came down here, created some equal lows, right? So we were anticipating, I kept telling you guys that this is still going to go down, still going to go down because of, the monthly liquidity. And I could remember calling out a sell, from this area, right? This imbalance we had. Could remember telling you guys to keep an eye for potential distribution in this area to go down. price came into that area and then dropped. So created a new daily range, right? We had a new daily range, that was in line with the structure of the market. We can see the structure was coming in a bullish form, right? We had this high, we had this higher low, we had this higher high, we had this low, we had this high, and then we had this break or structure to the downside, right? So price broke the structure, gave us this big push. Okay, we could consider this as the low, the high, the low, the high, the low, right? And then price broke structure again to the upside. Yes, but as you can see, Bitcoin still went to the downside. So now that we see how price has actually closed below this area, we could be looking at all of this as one push to the downside and then a lower high and then a lower low. Now, there's no way we would have known that was going to be the thought process, for smart money until it has happened. Or it is after it has happened, we can now have conclusions and then make corrections that, okay, I think they were seeing this as one swing to the downside, a low, a lower high, a lower low, and then we have this lower high. And as you can see, we have a lower low. Now, if this daily candle can close below this last candle close, that is going to give us a lower low, right? And then we have a new daily range to the downside. Yeah, so we can see that the structure is still very much bearish. And then when price gave us this, lower high and this lower low, we had our range that has been established already. This is the top range, and then this is the what? This is the down range. Yeah, so we had the down range and then we had the top range, right? Then I was looking for sell opportunities above anywhere above what? 50% as a premium area for sell. And as you can see, price, like I said, I was anticipating this liquidity to get captured, right? Like I knew they were going to go for this liquidity field, the imbalance, before coming for this monthly liquidity. Because I was already having, I was seeing the signals already because the candles were printing and then the candles were printing and they were giving meaning. So all I had to do was to take my time to look at the candles and try to read and understand what the candles are telling me, right? So I was able to know that we're going to come for this liquidity to the upside, feel the imbalance. And as you can see, we had many days inside this imbalance before the push down. Okay, so price first got into the imbalance. Yeah, that was on the 26th of October. That is when price first got into the imbalance. And then price left the imbalance 8th of November, which was yesterday. All right, so we had how many days inside? So that's 13 days, if I'm correct. So 13 days, price was, price came into the imbalance, came back down, and then went back in. So 13 days of, back and forth for price started, to make the move to the downside. So all of this, we had multiple trade opportunities to the downside I want us to look at together. Right, so we're going to start from the first one, which is when price got into the imbalance on 26th of October. So permit me to use the replay tool now. And now let's now start to scale into lower time frame. So we're just going to uh do this. Sorry. Yes. All right, so just going to lock all of this and then can scale down to lower time frame 15 minutes now. So this is the 15 minutes. Okay, so um price came into the imbalance. Okay, and then we had what? Okay, so price came into the imbalance and then gave us the structure, right? We had this higher high, we had this higher low, and then price gave us a higher high, right? So in this area, this higher high, price has already entered the imbalance already. So going into lower time frames like the 5 minutes, we can see the distribution that happened in this area, right? Now, price has already gotten to a point of interest where you're anticipating lower pricing. Now, like I always say, you're not just looking for any break of structure in any place. Okay, break of structures can happen anywhere. Break of structures can happen anywhere in the market. At any point in time, we can have break of structure. Okay, but we want to make sure that you know, where we are anticipating or, looking at for break of structure is at a point of interest. That way we get to eliminate and not consider just any kind of break of structure we see in the market, right? So we have this whole area now. You can see my chart background is white. As you can see, we've entered this area now that is not white. It's more like gray in color, right? So as you can see, prices in this area. So I'm anticipating what lower pricing from this place. And we can see what happened here. We had what? Higher high. We had our higher low. We had our higher high. We had our higher low, right? But this failed to create a higher high. Instead, price gave us a new lower low. So therefore, to me, this is the higher low, and then this closed above this area. This is my new higher high. So in terms of structure, I have this as the high, the low, the high, the low, the high. And now we had what? This break of structure to the downside. So now there is now a structure shift to the downside. That means I'm expecting the daily to go down. The 5 minutes has given me the confirmation of bearishness, right? So price has broken structure to the downside. Where do we have the breaker structure now? So the breaker structure is going to be here. This is where we have the breaker structure, right? So I'm just going to take this to the left. Okay. And now we're anticipating what price to go back up, and then we're expecting what a dump to the downside, right? So in terms of our range, we have these as the range. Okay. So this is going to be the top range. And then this is going to be what the down range, right? Yeah, so now we are anticipating what our price should give us, mitigation, right? So now there are three entries. Entry techniques I use, right? I use institutional candle in form of uh, a mitigation candle, institutional candle in form of an imbalance, institutional candle in form of, a smart money cube. So any of those three entry techniques I see, if I want to sell, I'm looking for those three entry techniques at premium areas. That is areas above the 50%, right? And if I'm buying, I'm looking for those three entry techniques below what 50%. That's for a discount entry, right? And I can see one in this area, right? There's presence of an imbalance here. You can see. And aside from that, we had some kind of liquidity sweep in this area. Okay. You can see this triple highs. We had this one, and then this one, right? So we had liquidity sweep here. And then this is the candle that actually swept the liquidity. So mitigation here also, right? So two of the entry techniques are present in this area, right? If you choose to enter by if you choose to go in by the imbalance, you have your entry. If you choose to go in with mitigation, candle also have your entry. And from what I'm seeing, this is giving us some kind of harmonic pattern, right? I know I don't use harmonic too often, but yes, they could have as confluences, right? So we have this and then this. So from this type of harmonic pattern can only be two types. Looking at how the C closed below the A, we only have two harmonic patterns that are like this. Number one is the cipher for shark, and then the cipher ends at 786. Minimum for shark is 886. So this is not any of them. This stopped at 71. So for this to be a cipher, it needs to end at 786, which was very, very close to it was very, very close to 786. So something like this would have been what I'm saying, so like this, and 786 would have, been the entry for a cipher harmonic pattern, right? But then it doesn't have to be what it doesn't have to be picture perfect, right? This can be a cipher, but then it didn't get to, the 786 on dot. But because of the additional knowledge of smart money concept and entry techniques we know, we could have our entry lower, right? Assuming, you know, we have somebody that only trades only the harmonic patterns. Now you would have missed out on this trade because your entry would have been at 786 and price didn't get there. Pricing get to 786 and then rejected. But because of the additional knowledge we have of smart money concept, combining it with harmonics, we can have our entry a little bit lower because we want it to feel, the mitigation and open or the imbalance. If you wanted to play 50% mitigation of the candle, boom, that would have given you a nice entry at the 786. So this could be a cipher harmonic pattern, but price did not get to the 786 pinpoint on dot, right? It just came close to it and then went down. So as we can see, the imbalance could have been your entry, something like this. And then entry could be this is 2894. I just like to round up my entries at the nearest, institutional, numbers, right? That is the 00s, the 20s, the 80s, the 50s, exactly. So this is the closest to this is 20900. So that would have been my entry. Yes, something like that. And then stop. If I'm playing the imbalance, stop should just go above this high. If I'm playing the mitigation candle, I'm going to be putting my stop above the range, which in this case, 12 of them is the same place here. So this is about 95. So we could just put 100 to round it up. Okay. Yes, so 100. Yes, so this 100 for my broker is 100 is equivalent to $1 stop loss, if I'm correct. Yes, this is $1 stop loss for the lowest lots my broker can allow me. Right. So this is $1. Yes, so stop loss, and then you can see. So we have 100 um points. This is actually 10,000, right? 10,000 ticks, but this is about 100 pips. Okay, we're risking 100 pips, 1 to 3, risk to reward, right? 1 to 3 will give us, this is 1 to 3, yeah. So 100 to make, this would be 30K or 300. All right, so this was the first, this would have been the first entry. After, price gets to 1 to 3, you could begin to, let's see, did it get to 1 to 3? Yes, so we had our 1 to 3, right? So after 1 to 3, what would you do? Because now we'll be thinking, or how we thinking that, okay, this might actually be the move that is going to go for the liquidity to the downside, capturing the daily liquidity and then the monthly liquidity. So after taking my 1 to 3, I would go break even, anticipating that it is going to go lower, right? It is still going to go lower. And then let's see what happened. Okay. All right, so we can see price is going down. Price is going down the more. All right, so this is about more than a 1 to 6 already. And you see, cool. The until price came back to break even. Let's see. What was the total reward on this trade? Because this wasn't a move that gave us, the liquidity sweep on a monthly. No, but this was a play. So now, yeah, if you were still holding this trade, price would have taken you out. but price went as far as giving us a risk to reward of what? 129. Did we get a 129? Yes, we got a 129. So that's about 90,000 ticks. Did we? No, it came very close. As you can see, it didn't get to 129. So we just take this to 1 to 8. So that's about 80,000 ticks. Okay. Yeah, so 1 8. This went as far as giving us 1 to 8, risk to reward. So if you had still, if held thinking it was going to go down, it was going to capture the monthly liquidity instead of taking you out, because from there it went up and then boom, that was it. So this first entry gave a 1 to 8 before price rejected and went back to went above the stop loss. Okay, so we're just gonna have this here and then we lock this. Okay, so now let's see. So price went up again. Price came back into that area and beyond. Price went to the 50% now of the imbalance. Okay, so now this is the imbalance. Okay, so price decided to go for what? 50%. Okay, maybe smart money wanted to feel 50% of the daily imbalance before coming back down. As we can see, this dotted line here signifies what? 50% of half of this, imbalance. And then we can see price got there. And what did we see? You can see the distribution that happened again, right? You can see the higher high, the higher low, the higher high, and then the break to the downside, right? I see the entry already. Boom. As you can see, we had it, right? So this is the high. Again, we had the high, low, high, and then what? Big break to the downside. So in terms of our range now, we have this as the what? This is going to be the top range. And then this is going to be what? The down range, right? You can see the down range even has liquidity. And then we could be playing what? This imbalance here. Okay, so this is the imbalance we have. And then we could, if you want to play the candle, you can see we had this here. Sorry, we had this liquidity that was here and then all the way to this area here. Okay, more like a dynamic liquidity. Okay, we had this candle, swept it, and then we had another candle that went to the upside. So all of the push up, okay, institutional candle started from here, or we could take this one, any one of them, right? So if we wanted to play this, now we had what? Mitigation again. So we had the imbalance and then we had mitigation. Okay, so entry, let's see. Entries at 29, 29.20. Let's go for 920. That's a 20 level. That's what I would have played. Okay, 29.20. Yes, and then stop loss, if you're playing the imbalance, right? Imbalance, how I like to play this. If I'm selling, I put the stop loss above the first candle that created the wick to the left side, which is this very long candle. So if the stop loss is going to be up here, that's about 166, 165, which I would just round up to 170. So this would have been 170. Okay, and as you can see, it's going to take us long for us to get to 1 to 3, right? So that would have been the entry. So 1 to 3 would be, yeah. Okay. Yes, so this would have been 1 to 3. Let's see. Let's see if price gave us that entry. Give us the entry, but let's see if it got to TP, right? Okay. All right. There's something I wanted us to see also. Another entry presented. Now, this is the second entry. I want to show you the third entry again. So now let's say you waited for price because saying the stop loss is too big. You are waiting for extra distribution in this area. right? We're waiting for another form of distribution inside imbalance. We had it. Now just look at what price did, right? It was coming in a bullish form. We had this high, this low, this high, this low, this high, a low, and then we had a new higher high. And then we had what? A breaker structure again to the downside. So now the internal structure within the big structure is bearish again. Right? We had the breaker structure just like we had the breaker structure here. Right? We also had the breaker structure in this area. So I'm just going to put this to the back so you can see it. Yeah. Okay. And then we had what? This high, and then we had the slow. So our range now, we have a new range as this, as the top range, and then we have this as the down range, right? What can you see? I can see the imbalance here. Okay, so you can see this imbalance here. Boom, that could have been the entry again to go down. So this would have been another entry if you wanted to take this in this area. So stop loss would just go above this high, and then entry would be, 27. We could just play. Let's see, 80 is 80 within the imbalance. Yes, so could have played 80 and then put the stop loss to just 100. Yes, so just 100 pips. All right, so the first one had 170, this next one had 100, right? And then we're shooting forward. This we're going for 1 to 3, right? 1 to 3, that is about 300. Yeah. Exactly, something like this, right? So, yes. So this is the second and third entry. Again, the same thought process. Maybe this is going to be the move to capturing what? The daily liquidity to the downside where the down range is, and then go for the monthly liquidity at 17K area. So my thought process is going to be, okay, I think this is the move to 17K now. Yes, this is the move to 17K. All right. Yeah, I could remember that was how I caught the buy from around when Bitcoin was around 20 something, and then we bought it all the way to like 50 and beyond, right? So just holding and holding and holding and holding. I have the videos on the channel. Just watch the Bitcoin trade series, right? Where I did all the combination of my Bitcoin trades together. Right. So this, let's see. All right. Okay. So we're waiting. All right. So this, none of them has hit 1 to 3 yet. None of them. Okay, I see the first one. So the second, the third entry, this gave 1 to, oh, not yet, not yet. Doesn't giving us a 1 to 3 yet. So let's wait. Okay, good. This has given us 1 to 3 now. So this has given us 1 to 3, can go break even with a high or with a go break even, thinking it's gonna go what? Go lower to the 17K areas for the daily liquidity and the weekly liquidity. So if you entered with the extra, confirmation, waiting for more distribution, you know, inside the distribution, you would have actually made your 1 to 3. Why this one, you've still not made your 1 to 3, right? That's one of the problems of having big stop losses. But let's see. But what I can see here is I see pool of liquidity here. You can see I see this, and you see this money here and this area here. So it might still go down because of this money here. But let's see. Okay. All right. So we've captured the liquidity, and no, has it got into 1 to 3? No, that's not got into 1 to 3 yet. So this is a long wait. And then it's going back up. All right. How did Ooh, that was a big drop. Okay. That was a big drop. All right. So this okay, made 1 to 3 and beyond, and then next one also, this one is giving you your 1 to 3 stop loss to break even. Maybe it's gonna go for what? The 17K. Maybe Bitcoin is going for it's going to 17K, right? And then to capture, you are not just anticipating 17K. Is there anything price is attracted to at that area? Okay, so we're not just calling random figure and saying, okay, I won't be going to get to this area. Are there reasons as to why you feel is going to go down there? Yes, there is imbalance. There is liquidity. So, and if price is attracted to these two things, it might get there at some point. So if you catch an entry around 20K, you can anticipate that price is going to go down to that area, right? So this made your 1 to 3 stop loss to break even. Why this already is running about 1 to 6. So let's see how far these two went before price went back up. Okay. Yes. Okay. I mean, there was a lot of opportunity. We can see just in another 1 year, as soon as price gave us this, give us a new uh structure level after this low that's high, and then we had this lower high and this lower low. Price came into this imbalance, but then you can see this one did not play out, because if you are taking this, probably a stop loss would have been here a year, but this one would have actually hit stop loss. Okay, so now let's see. I can see price is going back up. Let's see, just want to know how far this went. Okay. Okay, so let me just switch to the 15 minutes so we can be fast with it. And then I just play. Oops, that was, you guys see that? So price came back up. We had a big spike, but it didn't get to any of the entries, right? So if you were holding with your stop loss at break even, I think you're still good. You're still good, all right? And then Bitcoin is now at 20. You're excited. Oh, maybe it's going for what? 17K. Right. That is how I like to think. Maybe it's going for until it takes me out. I mean, if you've made extra, 1 to 3 again, making 1 to 6, you can take partials and then you have your full 1 to 3. What I'm saying is, for example, this trade here, you made your 1 to 3. Let's say you're risking $100 on the trade. You got to 1 to 3, you decide to close about half your position. If you close, let's say you are on a 3.0 lot on this trade now, and you made your 1 to 3, you're risking $100. Your profit is running at $300. If you close about 1.50, you've closed about $150 profit. That's 1 to 3. So instead of you closing 1 to 3, so on TradingView, it hit 1 to 3, but in reality, on your MT4, you closed only 1 to 1.5. So how do you balance that up in order to have your 1 to 3? You wait until price gets to 1 to 6. So once price has gotten to 1 to 6 now, just like we have here, that $150 profit is going to turn back to 300. Then you can close another half of 1.50, that's about 0.75. You close 0.75, you've closed another what? $150. Then your total closed position will be 1 to 3, $300, and you still have 0.75 lot running. And you're anticipating is going to get to what? Is going to get to 17K, right? And as you can see, price really went down. So this one now is running about a 1 to 5. This one is running, okay, about 1 to 8. So let's see. Okay, all right. So now we see it. Boom. So this is as far as they went, 1 to 8, the other one 1 to 5. And then price rejected, went back up. Spamman was like, okay, we are not ready to go down. We still want to feel the imbalance more before we go down, right? So all of this gave a 1 to 5, and then this gave, 1 to 8. So just going to take this to the side and, we lock it. Okay, I'm just going to lock that. And then this, we lock it. We also remove the price label. Okay, so now price went back up again. All right, let's see. I'm monitoring price action in this area. 3 opportunities now. Price did not um go for 17K. All right, so let's see, maybe this is going to be the move. So price came all the way up here, almost filled the imbalance completely. Now you can see now three trade opportunities. One at the open, two at the 50% of the imbalance, the third one at the close, almost at the close of the imbalance. And then what do we have on the 15 minutes? I can see distribution, right? We have this higher high, higher low, higher high, breaker structure to the downside. So the range is the top range, the down range, playing this candle, right? And then that's the entry to go down. Sure. So let's do this on the 15 minutes. We saw the distribution again that happened, right? We had the breaker structure in this area, and then we had this as top range, same thing over and over again, right? And then we had this down range. Okay. Now price, we have all of this to the downside. You could play this imbalance. Okay, but if you're taking this imbalance now, this trade would have actually hit stop loss, because if you're going to trade imbalance and then you put a stop loss maybe at this high, this trade would have actually taken you out. But if you gave it more breathing space, maybe you put a stop loss at this high because of all of this liquidity that is here and price might want to come for it. You can see this dynamic liquidity from here to here. This is more like a dynamic liquidity. So if you had seen this and you put a stop loss up here, you're good, right? Or you were playing, this candle, right? So we're playing all of this, two consecutive last up candle before the breaker structure to the downside, right? If we're playing this, we had mitigation. Yeah, and then your stop loss could just go above this high. So depending on how you had played this imbalance, could have been a winning trade or a losing trade for you. But if you had played this candle, it should have actually definitely be a winning trade for you, right? So this, again, we had the structure break, we have the shift to the downside. We're looking for entries above 50%. Entries here, again, stop loss is going to go above this area here. So this stop loss, this one is all right. So entry, this is 21,399. We could just go for the 400. That's a 00 level. Yes, that's a 00 level. And then this is 80. We could just go for something like this. Exactly. So something like this, 80 pips, and then, risking what? 80 to make 1 to 3 is going to give us as a 24. So 2, 4, this. Exactly. So 1 to 3. So now maybe, again, the same thought process. Maybe this is going to be the move that is going to take me down to what? 17K. Okay, that is how I like to think. Okay, that's how I like to think. So now that is the first entry to the downside. Now there was also another entry here. Okay, now let's look at it again. Price gave us this low, lower high, gave us this lower low. So our new range now will be this range here, and then what? This range, send this to the back, and then this range here, right? Now, what can we see that is at premium? I can see all of this liquidity in this area that they might want to come for. You see all of this liquidity here? This is money resting in this area. So what I'll be anticipating before, smart money goes down is that they're going to sweep this liquidity before dumping price. Okay, and where could they potentially, take price up to? I can see this imbalance in this area. Okay, you just have to get used to seeing these things. This is another entry you could have taken, boom, in this area. And then because we're playing the imbalance, stop loss is just going to go above this first candle here in this area. So entry, this is 21 1378. I like to play 80.0. 80, exactly 80. And then stop loss is just going to be 4. I'll just play, if I play 50, it's going to be too much. Maybe 40. Yes, so just 40. Yeah. Okay, so as you can see, the second entry, I'm also aiming for what? 1, 2, 3. So my 1, 3 is going to be down here. As you can see, we made 1 to 3 a lot faster. Why this is not 1 to 3 yet? So this is one entry, this is another entry, anticipating that maybe we are going to go for what? 17K to capture the daily liquidity. So you can see price dumped to the downside. The price presents another trade entry. Definitely, definitely sure. We had this, lower low. We had this lower high. Price gave us this, high, lower low. Yeah. So our range now, our new range is going to be this. A new range now is going to be this high in this area and then this down range here. Okay, do I see anything above 50% that price might be attracted to? Yes, I see what this imbalance in the price here. So this could be another entry for me to go on to go lower, right? Yes, as you can see, price is just going down. So this is the entry, 21,293 could just play 00. That is 300. That's going to be the entry. And then stop loss can just go above this high. All right, that's about 36. Just round it up to 40. That's how I would have played it. Okay, 40, and then that is it. So this also 1, 2, 3 risk to reward. Okay, these are all multiple opportunities in case you missed out on this one. This one, it could actually take this one. Everything is the same thing, the range, the structure, the liquidity and all. And then boom, you can see this was entry and down we go. I think so. Yes. And then Bitcoin kept going to the downside. Did it give us another opportunity? Yes, it gave us. Right, you can see price came into this imbalance again, right? And then boom, that was another entry to go to the downside. Could have placed the entry here. 2100. Could play on 50. So 50, that's a 50 level. Yeah, that's a 50 level. Stop loss can go above this first candle about 105. Yes, that's another entry. Okay, and these two you're aiming for what? 1, 2, 3. Right. These ones are already running in, massive profits. This, and then this. And then we had, Bitcoin went down, came back up again. Can you see this is now at 19K? Went up and then boom. Price did not return to that area again. So you can see 17. So if this entry you had, you are just put your final TP at 17. Just like you've done for every other one year. You did it for this one, but it didn't play out. After your 1 to 3, you just put your final TP at 17K. You did it for this one, it didn't work out. You did it for this one, it didn't work out. And then you did it for this, and price just didn't get back there. And price kept going down, kept going down. And this, and then there was also another opportunity in this area here. Now look at this. In terms of the structure, we had this lower low, we had this lower high, and then we had this low, right? And then price went all the way to the downside here, okay? Price went all the way to the downside here. Yeah. And then the spiked price up this move up came into this imbalance. And then that was a price rejected from. Now, the structure wasn't too picture perfect. So, I wouldn't have traded that. But as you can see, it played out. So price came into the imbalance, boom, and then rejected, took price all the way to the downside, as you can see. So that was another entry, you could have taken, take price to the downside. As you can see, this one here, so more cleaner entries, and then all of this to the downside here. So if it held this is already about 1 to 54. This is about 1 to 75, 1 to 75, 1 to 26. I say we're just, and they've not even like gotten to 17K yet. All right, so if, this to 17K, this to 17K, this to 17K. This is about, this 54, this 109, 106, 38. Can you see all of these entries here? This, this, and how do I, and then this. Okay, you can see, yeah, so all of these entries now played out and then took Bitcoin down to what, 17K areas. Is there any way you would have known that these were going to be the entries? No. Just like how you had anticipated it here, it didn't play out. You anticipated it here, it didn't play out. You anticipated it here, it didn't play out. Right? But trading is all about what, probabilities. You can never be you can never be 100% sure, but you just have to keep doing the same thing repeatedly. As long as your checklist align, as long as everything align, you go for it. And then your 1 to 3, maybe it's going to go for 17K. It always starts with maybe. Maybe it's going to go for this. Maybe it's going to go for that. And then you see price continue to go in your direction, just like we had in this case. So 3 entries that failed to go to 17, while 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of them entries straight to 17K, right? So as you can see, yeah, as long as your first condition is met, your 1 to 3, you can look to extend. Maybe it's going to get there. Maybe it's going to get to 17K. And as we can see, Bitcoin got to 17K. Yes. So if you've not watched the Bitcoin series, if you've not watched the Bitcoin series, that is the Bitcoin series I did. I actually did a Bitcoin series from series 1 to 6, where I was explaining all my Bitcoin trade ideas. It feels good to talk about Bitcoin again because I've missed it. And, you can just watch how, I've been, following Bitcoin for a very long time. Even when it got to 69K, that was the highest Bitcoin got to, how we were able to catch sell opportunities all the way to the downside. I was sharing with you during the call my my screenshot. So it is not me using the replay tool. You will see the timestamp, everything is there. Okay, so I'm a lover of Bitcoin, I must say. Yeah, so this is it. These are entries I saw. So if there were more entries, I'm sure there were more because different people have different strategies, right? So some people have different strategies they would have used to enter this to the downside, but this is mine. And uh, yes, so now the second aspect is what do I, think is going to happen? So now that we've gotten to 17K, what do I think is going to happen next? I'm just going to give my general overview as to what I feel is going to happen, to Bitcoin next. Now, this quickly is not a trade idea, so I'm not going to be responsible for you maybe taking a loss on this and then you blame it on me. Okay, this is just for educational purpose only. Okay, so now let's go back to the daily time frame quickly. And then just permit me, let me remove all of this. We're done. This is captured. This even the monthly has been captured. 17K. Yes. So now what do I, see is gonna happen? First, let's go to the monthly. I want to show you something. Okay. Now we know that price is attracted to areas of liquidity, right? So if truly price is attracted to areas of liquidity, just like how we've seen it, okay, now I'm not, you know, taking into consideration what, our fundamental is saying. Just based on technical analysis and with my experience, of technical analysis over the years, prices are attracted to areas of liquidity. And if that is going to be the case, I see liquidity at this area. This is at 2K. Who knows? Who knows? Just because of the liquidity, that is why I'm saying it might get there and it might not. But just because of the equal lows, who knows? So like I said, I'm not just going to be calling numbers. Are there reasons as to why I think it's going to get there? Maybe. So it could be a very, fast move. Maybe they capture it and go back up. I don't know. But if they are going to be high in this liquidity, then, we might see price get there. Okay. That is just, on a very, very large perspective. Now, on the monthly time frame, we can see that we are bearish, right? After we had this high, this low, this high, I can remember when we were monitoring this candle, right? We're all monitoring this candle. It was going to close below the structure. And when it did, like, oh, Bitcoin is still going to sell more. Bitcoin's still going to sell more, right? Yes, and it closed below, and since then it has been, selling. So in terms of the monthly range, we have this as the high, and it is still yet to establish the lower low. Okay, if price has done that, then we could be anticipating some retracement. Okay, on the monthly time frame. Now on the weekly, okay, so also on the monthly time frame, it could find support at this imbalance. Okay, now price has captured this equal lows, has captured the liquidity. It is coming into the imbalance. We could be anticipating, some level of support in this area. Okay, because if we do something like this, okay, we could be doing something like this, right? And then we could see how we had this resistance, So price broke through the resistance, the retail stuff, it could find some level of support here to go up. So just keep an eye, it might go up from this area, right? Yes, but now we are not just saying it's going to go up because of support and resistance or resistance turn support. It's going to go up because of what the imbalance has captured the liquidity. So we could be anticipating accumulation below major lows, right? So it could come into this area, give us, that, low, high, and lower time frame, and then we could go up. Something like that could happen in this area. As you can see, there are two imbalances now. It could fill this completely and find support in this next one. So either of these two areas, we might see support if they are not coming for this liquidity here. If they don't want to come for it, right, we should get some level of support here or here to go up, right? And then on the weekly time frame, you can see how we are very, very bearish this week, right? The weekly is still very bearish. You can see, let's start from, when it gave us the breaker structure. Like it was there right from the very beginning. It was evident. Okay, let me show you. Let's go up. Look at it broke the structure already. We had this high, we had this low, we had this high, we had a breaker structure. So it was already bearish. Okay, so price is already bearish and then kept on giving us now in this area, monitoring the price action, we can see we had what lower low in this area, lower high, lower low, lower high, and potentially creating a lower low. So after low, high, low, we should get some kind of support that's going to give us a lower high. So now two things can happen. Either price gives us a lower high and go down, or gives us the lower high and break through and give us a breaker structure. So either ways, we are anticipating buys to later continue or buys to get here and then stop. But in both of these cases, we are anticipating a buy somewhere from here or this imbalance here below. Okay, so that is the weekly perspective now. Okay, and then the daily, we are still very, very much bearish, as you can see. Price is just dumping and going to the downside. So yeah, it's going to feel all of these imbalances later on, right? Okay, just like this, you can see it's repetition. Created this big imbalance, filled it. Created this big imbalance, filled it. So yeah, it should come and give us some kind of fill. Even this big one here, filled it. So filled it, yeah, filled it here, filled it here. So why should it not fill it here? So at some point we can anticipate some buy, you know, to the upside. So that's what I'm seeing. So not yet, but just keep an eye. So that is my view on Bitcoin. So if they're not going to capture the liquidity, we might, see it buy and then might start to buy soon. Oh, okay, so this is it. This is the Bitcoin trade idea. Uh, I'm so happy talking about Bitcoin again. It's been long. I actually did a video analysis on Bitcoin. So it played out very well. Amazing trade. All right. So let me know what your thoughts are. Okay, if there are any questions, if there are, additions, okay, just feel free to reach out to me. Okay, you can just drop your questions in the comment uh section. Okay, I'm gonna be notified, so I'll see it. All right, so thank you so much for watching. You have a good day. Bye bye.